Uh-oh, is this right? Let's see. Okay, I have to keep it vertical, guys, which is fine. I'll wait a few minutes. Maybe some people will come on. It's the day after Christmas. Merry Christmas. I am almost dressed, getting ready to go out for a little event. And I thought I would just share something. It's probably going to be quick because it's going to be quick. I'm just dropping a little note. I could have made this a short, actually. So I'll just get into it, and then you guys can see it on the replay whenever that is. So look how pretty it is outside. We're even in the midst of winter wonderlandness. It's beautiful out there. So here's what I'm thinking about, and this has been on my mind a lot kind of recently, but intermittently, and it keeps coming up, and it's something I think is so important and so valuable, so I'm going to share it with you. And that is what I put as the title of this video, which is get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And specifically what I'm talking about is when you are faced with moments in your life when you feel afraid, you're feeling vulnerable, you're feeling uneasy or unsure or anxious or any of those kinds of things. You're just not at peace. You're uncomfortable, right? For whatever the reason may be. In any kind of situation, it doesn't have a specific applicability. But when you find yourself in those moments when you're not comfortable, it's so important to stay there and to even lean into the discomfort. And for example, like if you have someone you can talk to about what's going on, if you have a really good friend, someone in your family, a partner, whatever, if it's something on your job and you have like a trusted colleague or even your boss, and you can kind of just speak about what's going on. Well, let me say this, possibly, especially if it's, well, so it's like, I think there's a balance between finding, and this is important, a trusted person that you can talk to and say, here's what I'm feeling, here's why. Maybe some series of events happen beforehand that have led you to feel uneasy about something. Or maybe it's something that you saw or perceived in an event that kind of triggered a response in you that really doesn't have anything to do with the event itself, but it is like a flashback, let's say, to something that was triggering before. It's really important. Those are actually like little gifts, little gifts wrapped in like shit pellets, because they feel terrible the moment when you're in it. It feels like shit, right? But if you peel that back, if you're willing to peel back the stink of it and look inside, you can see that there's something that's beneficial for you. And it's not easy because that means you have to be willing to go through it and potentially expose that to somebody else, right? Like, here's how I'm feeling. Hi, everybody. I see you checking in. No, I'm not Polynesian. um, but the gift of it is that if you do that, if you do that, then you can get to what's really happening. And if you do it with a again, like a trusted friend or partner, or I guess even a colleague, depending upon what the situation is, if you do that, then the beauty is that you walk through feeling uncomfortable like that, but then you come out on the other side and can be like, oh, okay, like you basically, what is it, like reverse engineered what you were feeling, what the problem was, or even maybe just the perceived problem, because it's not always like what you feel, what we feel isn't always the truth, right? I could feel very agitated by someone who cut me off in traffic, and it actually has nothing to do with that person, but it's because of some conversation I had earlier in the day or even last month that made me feel upset. No, no soy dominicana tampoco. I'm American, Americana, pero con una corazón latina. Anyway, I'm not going to go there right now. Yes, these are words of wisdom, and this comes from lived experience. And the more that I am willing to like open myself up to this kind of stuff, the more gifts it keeps on giving. Honestly, it's like if you are willing to step into these moments when you're feeling not at your best and acknowledge that and share that with someone. And I say share it, I mean, it may not be something that you need to share, but if you are, especially if it's in like a relational situation, whether it's like a personal romantic relationship or, like I said, familial or anything, if you're willing to move past your own ego, like, I don't want to let this person know I'm feeling this way, or I'm not going to speak first because I feel like they did something to me, like all that kind of stuff that can come up. If you're willing to move past that and just be like, here's how I am feeling, here's what happened for me when you said this thing, or when this happened, or, at the party last week, any type of situation, and just talk about you, not like blaming a person or anything like that. Just acknowledge your own piece of it, your how you're feeling. And like I said, that can be very uncomfortable because it means you're exposing yourself, and you're becoming vulnerable, and you're risking somebody seeing what's really true about you. And it may not always be the prettiest part. In fact, it usually is not. But but it's so rewarding. It also lets you know who you're dealing with, because if you talk about this kind of stuff with someone and they are judging you, or they are like shaming you, or they're putting up their defenses and they're not willing to be open and equally honest and vulnerable with you, well, then then I think it's still a worthwhile exercise, because then you can see, okay, well, maybe this is not a person who I thought they were. Maybe they're not as trustworthy, and I can't confide in this person. I definitely don't want to continue to expose this super soft part of me if that's not going to be well received, or if they're going to play some game back with me. Then no, you're in the wrong court. Like, get off that court and play a different game with somebody else. But if you are, if you find that you are in a place and the person's like, it's all good, right? Or they come to you and they share something about how they're feeling uncomfortable, and you receive it from them just with gentleness and love, and like allowing them to have that space to be that way, then great. That's such a beautiful thing. And I will tell you right now, it is worth every bit of discomfort to go through that, to get to that sweet spot on the other side. It's a beautiful thing. And then you can realize, what, it's not as bad as I thought it was. It's like my little mind racing about stuff, or, making up a story, whatever you think something might be. It's not usually as bad as what we have conjured it up to be in our minds, right? So that's why I said get comfortable being uncomfortable. Because the more, and this is funny because this keeps coming up like in algorithms. When I was on social media recently at different times, this thing would pop up and that thing would pop up, all these little conversations about how it's important to have the difficult conversations, again, whether it's in a relationship, or you got to talk to someone, an employer, an employee, um maybe you're dealing with an addiction issue, and you don't want to have to acknowledge that you're feeling a certain way about whatever struggle you're having. I mean, again, it can apply to all kinds of things. But if you can, and I think honestly, in terms of addiction stuff, I don't have an addictive personality, so I've not had that specific experience. But my understanding of it is that when people go, let's say, to rehab, you've seen in movies and stuff, they have those circles where they're there to talk about this happened and that happened, and how they felt a certain way and it led them to drink or do some kind of drug. But it's when they get into those circles with a bunch of strangers usually, that they are opening up and sharing, here's what's really going on, right? When this thing happened, it reminded me of a conversation I had with a parent way back, or some kind of struggle. But it's in that closed, safe environment that they feel they can open up and begin to acknowledge what's really going on in them. And that also then the other people are like, yeah, me too, me too, me too. And so you realize you're really not alone when you're going through that. Like, so many of us are having these types of fears and worries and things day in and day out, And some days, yeah, it's like you could be stronger and you're like, I'm good, I got it today. And other days you're like, well, what the hell is happening? It's not, I'm not okay. Um, Hi, everybody saying hello. I appreciate the hearts and stuff. Mwah. But I hope you're hearing this. I really do. And thanks for the thumbs up too. I appreciate those always. So yeah, this has been on my mind and on my heart, especially lately, because I've talked to a few, yeah, more than a couple friends very recently about this. And then some other people kind of intermittently, these conversations have come up, and it's so good. And it's just so good, such good conversations to have. And then when you are, so this is like sort of conversations in the abstract about this topic. And then when I find myself actually in the conversation where I am having the uncomfortable feeling, and I'm like, I'm willing to bear that part of myself. It's, it's, it is a little scary. And there's definitely some concern about, okay, how's this going to be received? But then, right through the tunnel on the other side. So that's my message. It's not a long one today. I'm not answering all the questions, you guys. Sorry. Sorry. This is just output today. I'm just giving up some goods, what I think are some goods. So hopefully that helps somebody out there. I appreciate you guys checking me out. Hope you're having a happy holiday season. Stay peaceful. If I talk too much fast, you don't understand anything. Oh, am I going too fast? I'll try to slow down my speaking. That helps you guys. Mwah. Peace and love. Bye.